Hey, what's up, guys? So we're gonna look at some back defenses today, from top side, from overhook side and underhook side as well. Okay, so first we're gonna try the one on the overhook side. This is the side where his arm is going over my shoulder, and it's the attacking arm, the one that I have to worry about. Okay, the other one is under my armpit, and it's called the control hand or control arm or secondary arm or whatever you want to call it. And it's underhook arm, also referred as. So we're here. The first thing we're gonna do is look at how to actually control the arm, how to defend from a strangle, because if I don't do anything here and I'm just going for the legs or something like this is like the worst thing I could possibly do. He's just gonna go to the strangle, right? So you go ahead and right there, okay? So it's right there for him for the taking. So what I need to do is, I need to be aware of this arm, obviously. This is the danger for me, okay? It's not just about the escape. I need to notify the danger first. So what I'm gonna do is take my opposite hand. So this one is his strangulation arm. It's on this side of my head. I'm going to take the opposite hand and I'm going to sneak my thumb under his wrists, or at least I'm going to aim to do that. When we're wearing MMA gloves, this is super hard to do because of the you know, all the material here. But we're doing grappling right now, so we're going to aim to do just that. We're going to throw that thumb right in here under the wrist. Okay? Then I'm basically making a V grip on his wrist here. So that alone is strong enough to frame against him trying to strangle me. Go ahead and try to strangle with just this frame. It's pretty hard, right? Now I'm going to obviously not leave my hand open like that, but I'm going to close it around. Now he's got a seat belt the proper way, the way that his secondary hand is covering his primary hand, his strangulation hand. If it's the other way around, then I don't even need to do that. I'm just going to peel his arm off, right? So he's covering that and negating that action. So now I need to get as close to his strangling hand as possible. That's the end of his lever. That's the one I'm going to defend right here. So I'm going to sneak my thumb in, and it's going to be tighter usually here, so it might be a little hard, but I'll wedge it in. And then I'm going to use my other hand right next to it here. So I'm not grabbing like this, like a baseball bat, because if I lose this hand for some reason, maybe he peel it off for me. This one, the primary one, this one, peel it off. Now look, when he starts to strangle, I'm very late to defend, okay? My hand is too far from his hand to go on a defensive. So what I need to do is take this hand and put it right next to the other one. So now when he peels off my primary hand, I'm already defending. Another detail that you might want to look into is that I'm not just resting my hand here or pulling with my fingers down, because that puts me at a disadvantage again. I'm too slow to transfer to the hand. I'm actually meat hooking it like this a little bit, okay? Now, when he goes, go slowly so the camera can see. When you just peel my hand off, but don't go for the actual choke. It's only like half-inch distance that I need to cover, rather than from here to here. It's only like a wrist movement, okay? And that's strong enough. As long as I can get a hold of his thumb knuckle here, the big knuckle on the thumb, I should be okay. Here's the difference. Go ahead and strangle from here. It's impossible, right? Go ahead and strangle from here. Climb your fingers. And I'm pulling hard down. And you can get it, okay? So the difference from me holding here and me holding here is an actual submission, okay? So with that being said, this is how to defend properly the strangle hand from a seatbelt position, right? So I'm wedging my thumb underneath, I'm grip shake framing here, then I use the other hand right next to it as a meat hook here, and I'm holding like a claw, right? Now, there are different things that may happen from here, but for today we're going to assume that I'm holding him tight here. I can pinch my elbow down, or I can have it open for a better frame. If I pinch it down, it makes it harder for him to attack. Okay, so let's start with that. Let's pinch it down. Get a little tighter here, please. Yeah, right here. Pinching down, I'm going to start working the legs. Okay, I would normally want to try and escape my head first, but my head is blocked by his bicep here. We're going to look at the head escape on the other side because that makes more sense. Here it's going to be a little harder to do. So I'm going to start working the legs. If he has hooks like this, symmetrical hooks, it's going to be easy to just kind of point my hips from 45 degrees relative to the floor to 90 degrees relative to the floor, almost 90 degrees here. which means I'm just going to point them up to the ceiling. And then I'm going to step over, come this way, and then start escaping. We're going to show the continuation in a moment. Brian, go back please. If he has his feet crossed, which is also an option, I know that there's foot locks and stuff like this, but we're not discussing that. There are easy preventions for those foot locks, easy defenses, and I'd rather not get strangled than attempt something like this. So what I'll do instead is, since I have my primary hand in place here, I'm going to actually employ my secondary hand. My primary hand needs to be in a very proper position here with the thumb and everything. So then I'm going to start using, once I'm safe here, I'm going to start using my secondary hand to untangle the feet. Okay, so I'm going to go, if he hasn't crossed, it's going to be a little more challenging, but not impossible. I'm going to pull and then start going over the leg. If he hasn't crossed the other way, obviously, then I'm just going to fish, pull this one. If he doesn't have them crossed, but they're kind of pinched together, it might be difficult to do this without the hand assist. I'm still going to assist with the hand. I'm going to pull on the blade of his foot here, pull it out this way. It's easier than going this way, okay, because I only have so much range of motion. Look, my arm is straight already. Whereas from here, I'm actually pulling up. Okay, so it's much easier to do that. Now I'm going to step over, etc., etc. Now, what becomes more interesting is when he has an actual body lock here. Right. So when he has the body lock, I need to, this whole thing is not going to work. I know that the old school of thought was, oh, bring him to the other side and then just try to foot lock him and all that stuff. And while this might work, it might also not work at a higher level, or people with longer legs, or people with strong legs, okay? So what I need to do is actually get out of this. And how do I do that? Notice that our hips are pointing in the same direction. Again, I need my hips to point towards the ceiling. So the difficult part here is that there's a closed circle here, where with a wedge right next to my hip. So it might be a little more challenging. What I need to do is turn inside here into the circle. Lock it up if you can. There you go. Turn inside, and then I'm going to swing my leg underneath his leg. Okay. Once I do that, I'm going to transfer. Use this leg that I swung under to transfer it on this side of my foot, of my other leg. Then I'm going to grab. And one other thing, notice that all the while I'm doing this hand is here defending. I do not let go and try to do something like this because it's going to strangle me right away, right? So all this time I'm defending here responsibly. I grab this, and now I start moving on to the leg, right? And we'll see what to do with the upper body in a second. This is just showing right now how to unlock the legs. So one more time in the body lock. I'm putting on some weight. He used to lock that triangle so much easier. Now it's challenging. Anyway, so we're here. Even if he hooks under my leg with this one, right? That's more challenging, but not impossible. Look, I'm gonna use my other foot to open it, and then I'm going to swing this one under by. If I can't just swing it like this under, look, it's only gonna go that far, and he's gonna stop. So I need to turn my hips a little bit towards the ceiling. When I do that, look at the range now. Okay? I'm going to use this leg to assist, bring it to this side, and I'm going to pull. Just pull here, pull his foot. Now, when I do that, I'm free to go. Okay? And you notice how his legs entangle. And my goal here is to put my lower back on his thigh. What that does is it immobilizes him. If he starts to come up now, for instance, it's very hard because I'm laying down on his leg, right? He needs to extract his leg to come up. So now how do we deal with him coming up and actually escaping and counterattacking? Okay. So let's do it without the body triangle because it's putting a lot of strain on him, and it's just adding an extra step anyway. So we're here. What I'm going to do now is escape, prevent him from coming into the mount, and then counterattack. What he wants to do is the following. I'm out of here. He wants to put your foot on the side. He wants to put his foot, go back one step. He wants to put his foot flush against my hip here, and then start bringing this knee to the floor as he comes to the mount. Ideally, maybe in this position where he's actually going to strangle me with a head and arm choke. Okay? So this is a very risky move, especially on this side with my arm like this. What we need to do is, what we need to do now is, once I get out of this situation, I know what he's going to do here. There's no more strangle. Try to strangle me from here. It's not going to happen, right? His positioning is wrong or is not correct for strangulation. So I don't need to worry about the strangle anymore. What I need to worry about is extracting this elbow. At the very least, I don't want to get caught in head and arm, even if he mounts me. But we can do better. So I extract the elbow by employing this hand. I frame on this one. I frame on his hand, the one that's stopping me from extracting the elbow. And now I'm going to hip escape this way so that I can make room for my elbow to fall on the floor between us. Okay? If you can come right above here, please, with the camera. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to hip escape, and I'm going to pull my elbow down as if I'm escaping an arm bar. Right here. I'm going to wedge my elbow next to his hip pocket, or right in front of his hip line here, so that when he starts coming up to the mount, and I hip escape one more time, go for it, and I hip escape one more time, I sneak my knee inside, and then turn this into a single leg X. Okay? One more time on this part. Go here. I'm defensively responsible here. He's not doing anything, or maybe he's trying, but I'm kind of prevent him. As long as I have my primary hand, I can employ my secondary hand. I go this way. He puts his heel right away. I know he's going into the mount. I need to get rid of this arm so I can extract my elbow, right? Otherwise I'm gonna get in big trouble. So I let go with this one. There's no more strangle. I frame, and as he comes up, I hip escape and I put my elbow here on his hips, on his hip line. I'm framing him so he doesn't come any closer. That creates space for my knee to sneak in. Then I close my single leg X. Now from here, we have different options depending on what he does. If he stays there or starts turning away, I could go into my outside heel hook series where I'm gonna roll, etc., etc. We're not gonna do that now because there's a cage there. Plus, we're not really paying attention to that right now. If he starts coming up to me, I can go into sweeps or come down over there. I could go into like ashigarami. If I want to just get up, I'll sweep him from there. So this is probably the best option, simply because if you're not good on legs and stuff like this, it's the best option because it allows you to come on top. So here, I'm just under the leg, get to this position. I can get up right from here, or take the X guard, drive him off. All his weight is on his hands. I'm going to release this leg first, since my left hand is down, post it down on the floor, and do a technical stand-up. From here, if he chooses to run away, pull him back down, and I get on his back. If he turns into me, we play a guard passing game. On the underhook side, it's almost the same. Slight difference is that when we're here, what I need to do is, there is a gap here between, let's say we're exactly in the position we're in. There is a gap where I could actually bring my head forward and put it on the floor. My shoulder is already on the floor. My other shoulder is going to go on the floor. And now look, once I do this, I can beat his leg. And it becomes so much easier to bring this elbow to the floor because there's no obstruction. On the other side, his arm was obstructing my elbow to go to the floor. I had to take care of this first. But here, still there's no strangulation, no worries there. Here I need to put my elbow to the floor and there's no obstruction between us. However, what becomes a problem is, oh, by the way, how do we do that? How do we put the head forward and then on the floor, get a little tighter? Just, yeah, there you go. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna post on my feet, bridge slightly, and then tuck my chin forward. And I'm on the floor here, okay? My head is on the floor. I start putting my back to the ground. He's trying to do the same thing. Maybe he's putting his foot there. Look, my elbow is already towards the floor. Go, 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 go. Try to take the mount. And we're in this position. This side is actually easier to get to a single leg X. What makes it harder is when he starts clanking down and not letting me actually, which he should be doing really. It's not that he's doing something extraordinary. He should be doing this. He puts his chin in my ear, and it's very hard now to get my head out, okay? But when he's that tight, it's gonna be very hard for him to start attacking with a strangle and be tight at the same time. In order for him to start attacking, he's gonna have to start loosening up, and I can take advantage of that, okay? So he's basically holding me down here. Pinch your elbow into my shoulder. I can't go anywhere. Get your head tight. Just don't let me put my head on the floor. It's gonna be tough to do, okay, if he's intent on stopping me do exactly that. But that opens up other things. So we're assuming that he's really tight here. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to use my secondary hand, and I'm going to bring it as close to the lock here as possible. Pinch your elbow down. As close to the lock as possible to defend. Okay, it's gonna be also harder for him to strangle me from this side. He needs to use one hand to strangle me only. So I know I'm a little bit safer, okay? Let me use my other hand to break the feet hold here, okay? So now when I do that, I start coming this way, and what he could do is what I'd be scared to do, scared of here, is if he scissors his legs now, look, I'm completely escaped from his legs. He scissors his legs, and he comes up this way, and he takes the back, okay? So this is a great possibility, but what I gotta do is, there's a good solution here. I get under, and before he starts doing that, before he starts scissoring or anything, I'm going to bridge slightly, not too much, so he doesn't take the back again. Right here, there's a gap for him to retake the back. So I'm gonna bridge slightly, and I'm going to turn this way on my right shoulder. When I turn on my right shoulder, right here, you start scissoring your legs. I can actually throw my arm over and control the torso. And then from here, it's an easy transition to the top. One more time on this last one. It's tight, I can't get my head to the floor, but I can work the legs because he's not really doing anything else here. Notice where my hand is, I'm defending chokes and stuff. I go in here, and I beat the legs. Look, now right away, I'm afraid of him scissoring his legs fast and starting to build up and retaking the back. So what I'll do is, I'm going to bridge very slightly, just enough to turn to my other hip and shoulder. I want to be on this side here and pivot. Look, now my right shoulder is on his chest. As I pivot, I open my elbow and I box out his hips. Now he can't scissor his legs anymore. And then I start walking backward. Now I gain a reverse side control with inside positioning on his arms. Okay, and then from here we do what we do. So these are some great options for back escapes. They're early back escapes in as much as he hasn't trapped my arms, he hasn't started strangling yet or anything like that. But those are the best times to escape because anything else is further complicated by attacks. So I hope these work. You got to drill them a little bit more. And most importantly, any escapes, when you start drilling, and I'm going to mention that at every video about escapes, every escapes when you drill, every escape that you drill, you need to drill it in a situation like this when it's just with no control really, just he's letting me do my work. And then you gotta intensify a little bit, little by little, you're gonna start getting more intense. He's putting a little more pressure. He's not letting me get out so easily. Now I can see some variations of what he might wanna do, what I might have to do if he does certain things, etc., etc. So you wanna kinda increase the intensity of the drill little by little as you go. So within half an hour, you should be able to get to see all the looks that you might get from this position or any position. All right. Thanks again, Vlad. Thank you for filming. Brian, thank you. Thank you, Uprise MMA. Subscribe and like.